This article will update as the story develops. The third installment of Elon Musk's Twitter files delved into what led to the removal of former President Trump's account. In part 1 of the third installment, which dates from October 2020 to January 6, Substack writer Matt Taibbi told his followers, "We'll show you what hasn't been revealed, the erosion of standards within the company in months before J6, decisions by high-ranking executives to violate their own policies, and more, against the backdrop of ongoing, documented interaction with federal agencies." Whatever your opinion on the decision to remove Trump that day, the internal communications at Twitter between January 6 to January 8 have clear historical import. Even Twitter's employees understood in the moment it was a landmark moment in the annals of speech, Taibbi wrote on Friday. He then shared a screenshot of a Twitter employee asking, "Is this the first sitting head of state to ever be suspended?" Twitter Files Part 3 reveal details of Trump's removal video. Elon Musk's second installment of Twitter Files reveals secret blacklists, Bari Weiss reports. Taibbi reported that executives at Twitter started processing new power following their decision to ban Trump, indicating they were prepared to ban future presidents and White Houses, perhaps even Joe Biden. The new administration, says one exec, will not be suspended by Twitter unless absolutely necessary. Twitter Files flashback. Jack Dorsey testified under oath Twitter does not censor, shadow ban conservatives. One unnamed executive alleged the context surrounding the actions of Trump and his supporters over the course of the election and frankly last 4+ years contributed to the ban. In the end, they looked at a broad picture. But that approach can cut both ways, Taibbi wrote. The bulk of the internal debate leading to Trump's ban took place in those 3 January days. However, the intellectual framework was laid in the months preceding the Capitol riots. Former President Donald Trump announces he is running for president for the third time at Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, FLA, November 15, 2022. Former President Donald Trump announces he is running for president for the third time at Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, FLA, November 15, 2022. AP photo/Andrew Harnick, file. After alluding to the second installment of the Twitter files that addressed the shadow banning of conservatives, Taibbi reported, as the election approached, senior executives perhaps under pressure from federal agencies, with whom they met more as time progressed increasingly struggled with rules, and began to speak of bios as pretexts to do what they'd likely have done anyway. Taibbi then shared internal Slack messages from Yoel Roth, the former head of trust and safety at Twitter, who made light out of heightened discussions with federal agencies following January 6. Roth joked about the lack of generic enough calendar descriptions to conceal the very interesting meetings he had. One particular Slack channel offers an unique window into the evolving thinking of top officials in late 2020 and early 2021, Taibbi reported. On October 8, 2020, executives opened a channel called US 2020_XFN_enforcement. Through J6, this would be home for discussions about election-related removals, especially ones that involved high-profile accounts, often called VITs or very important tweeters. He continued, there was at least some tension between safety operations, a larger department whose staffers used a more rules-based process for addressing issues like porn, scams, and threats, and a smaller, more powerful cadre of senior policy execs like Roth and Twitter's former trust and policy chief Vijaya Gadde. The latter group were a high-speed Supreme Court of moderation, issuing content rulings on the fly, often in minutes and based on guesses, gut calls, even Google searches, even in cases involving the president. During this time, executives were also clearly liaising with federal enforcement and intelligence agencies about moderation of election-related content. While we're still at the start of reviewing the number Twitter files, we're finding out more about these interactions every day, Taibbi added. Taibbi then turned to correspondence involving Twitter's policy director Nick Pickles, with one employee asking him if Twitter should say it detects misinfo through ML, human review, and partnerships with outside experts, adding, I know that's been a slippery process, not sure if you want our public explanation to hang on that. Pickles himself is seen asking if Twitter could just say partnerships, later writing, e.g. not sure we'd describe the FBI/DHS as experts. Tabai revealed that Roth not only met with the FBI, DHS, and the Office of Director of National Intelligence, he apparently discussed the censoring of the Hunter Biden laptop story. Some of Roth's later slacks indicate his weekly confabs with federal law enforcement involved separate meetings. Here, he ghosts the FBI and DHS, respectively, to go first to an Aspen Institute thing, then take a call with Apple, Tabai wrote while sharing a screenshot of an exchange. Tabai shared another message, explaining, "Here, the FBI sends reports about a pair of tweets, the second of which involves a former Tippecanoe County, Indiana councilor and Republican named John Basham claiming between 2% and 25% of ballots by mail are being rejected for errors." Journalist Matt Tabai revealed the third installment of the Twitter files on Friday. Journalist Matt Tabai revealed the third installment of the Twitter files on Friday. Daniel Zuchnik /Wire Image /Getty Images. On Thursday, the Free Press editor Bari Weiss revealed Twitter's efforts to suppress prominent conservatives. A resurfaced September 2018 clip of Dorsey's testimony to a congressional committee was asked point-blank whether Twitter censors its users. She pointed to Stanford University's Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, a long-standing opponent of COVID groupthink during the pandemic who expressed opposition to lockdowns. Twitter secretly placed him on a Trends blacklist, which prevented his tweets from trending, Weiss reported. She reported that Fox News host Dan Bongino was placed on a search blacklist and Twitter had Turning Point USA's Charlie Kirk on Do Not Amplify. Bari Weiss, editor of the Free Press and host of Honestly podcast, speaks at the 2022 Milken Institute Global Conference in Beverly Hills, California, U.S., May 3, 2022. Bari Weiss, editor of the Free Press and host of Honestly podcast, speaks at the 2022 Milken Institute Global Conference in Beverly Hills, California, U.S., May 3, 2022. Reuters /Mike Blake. Tabai, who published the first installment of the Twitter files, addressed what led to Twitter censoring the Hunter Biden laptop story during the 2020 presidential election. Joseph A. Wolfson is a media reporter for Fox News Digital. Story tips can be sent to joseph.wolfsohn@fox.com and on Twitter @JosephWolfson.